Hello everyone, Manus MacLean here. Welcome to Brain Drain Newsroom. It's Monday, September 15th, 2025. We've got breaking developments that touch on power struggles in Washington, deportations under scrutiny, protections for vulnerable children, and a courtroom drama. These are stories shaping not just policy, but the lives of people who live and work alongside us. Let's dive in. First up, President Trump has threatened to declare a national emergency in Washington, D.C. after Mayor Muriel Bowser refused to have the Metropolitan Police cooperate with ICE. Trump claims that without police support, crime will skyrocket. Mayor Bowser counters that Washington, D.C. should not be forced into immigration enforcement, especially when it undermines trust between police and immigrant communities. Legal experts say that while the president does have the authority under certain emergency statutes, federalizing local law enforcement is a rare and politically explosive move. This isn't just about D.C. It sets a precedent for how far federal power can reach into local jurisdictions. Imagine similar moves in Los Angeles, New York, or Chicago. It's a fight about who controls policing in America's cities. Next, judge questions deportation of West Africans to Ghana. A U.S. judge is scrutinizing deportations of Nigerian and Gambian migrants who are flown not to their home countries, but to Ghana. The ACLU argues this violates both U.S. asylum law and international agreements, since Ghana is not their country of origin. Deportees fear persecution or unstable conditions if forced back to Nigeria or Gambia, but instead were left in a third country with no legal ties. Ghana's government, reportedly caught off guard, has not confirmed whether it agreed to accept these deportees long term. This raises fundamental questions. Can the U.S. outsource deportations to third countries? What protections exist when people are sent somewhere completely unfamiliar? This case could reshape international cooperation or expose serious abuses. Next up, a block on deporting Guatemalan children has been extended. Federal Judge Timothy Kelly has extended a ban on deporting 76 unaccompanied Guatemalan minors. These children were scheduled for removal on August 31st, but legal groups intervened. Advocates argue that parents or guardians were not properly consulted, violating due process. Many of the children are still in proceedings, meaning deportation would now short-circuit their legal rights. This ruling gives them time, but only temporarily. Their futures remain uncertain. Imagine being 12 years old, standing in a courtroom, and having your fate decided by a system you barely understand. That's what these minors are facing. An appeals court sets hearing on enforcement authority. The Federal Appeals Court is preparing to hear challenges over the scope of executive authority in immigration raids. Civil liberties groups argue the administration's aggressive use of executive orders is unconstitutional. The administration insists it's simply enforcing existing law. At stake, whether future presidents can bypass Congress and expand immigration enforcement almost unilaterally. This isn't just a legal battle. It's a fight over separation of powers, the limits of executive action, and whether checks and balances still hold when it comes to immigration policy. These four stories connect in powerful ways. They show federal versus local tensions, how cities like D.C. push back against the federal immigration demands. They highlight human stakes, from West Africans deported under questionable arrangements to Guatemalan children whose futures hang on court orders. They remind us that the courts are critical referees, deciding the limits of executive power and whether the system honors the protections built into law. And they underscore how immigration isn't isolated. It touches diplomacy, local governance, and basic rights of children and families. The bottom line, immigration enforcement is as much about politics and power as it is about law. If today's update moves you, here's how you can stand with Brain Drain and immigrant communities. 1. Donate. Every contribution fuels independent reporting and advocacy. Visit braindrain.org/donate. 2. Volunteer. Offer translation skills, mentoring, or support at local events. Communities need you. 3. Stay connected. Sign up for our newsletter at braindrain.org/newsletter to get weekly updates, stories, and opportunities to take action. Even small steps, sharing a story, forwarding an email, showing up at an event, add up to real impact. Today's update shows us how immigration law isn't just about borders. It's about power, families, and the courts. From threats of federal control to D.C., to children's futures hanging in the balance, to deportations that test international norms. The fight continues. I'm Manus MacLean, and this was Brain Drain Newsroom. Stay informed, stay empathetic, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this and maybe even learned something new. If you did, don't just vanish into the algorithm. Hit like, subscribe, and follow us on social. It's the easiest way to support our work and make sure you never miss what's next. Want to stay in the loop without relying on big tech's mood swings? Sign up for our monthly newsletter. And if you've got the means, donations of any size keep our programs running strong. As a 501c3, your gift is tax deductible where the law allows. Together, we can turn Brain Drain into America's next big breakthrough.